I've talked with some of you and you like the eXp business model and you're seriously considering joining eXp, but for whatever reason you want to wait and do it later. And don't get me wrong, I know there are many reasons to put off a big decision like this. And believe me, there's no pressure either way. If you want to join us now, then we're ready to have you on board. And if you want to wait until next year, that's fine too. I'll be here to help you in the meantime, and I'll be happy to help you get started whenever you're ready. With that being said, I want to make sure you understand what's happening right now at a deeper level, so this way you can make the most informed decision, because I don't want you to miss out on any part of this awesome opportunity. And this video is going to break down the top 5 reasons why it's better to join eXp now versus later. And I want to set the tone by starting out with this question: when is the best time to plant a tree? And the answer is 20 years ago. But the next best time to do it is now. So why is that? Well, if you think about it, if I had started saving part of each of my commission out of every deal that I've had over the last 15 years, I would have a pretty good amount saved. But if I didn't, then now, on my next closing, that would be the best time for me to start saving. And by starting that this year, I'll be way ahead of and way better off than trying to start next year. And the same is true of exercise. If I would have started a few years ago, then it would be automatic and a habit by now. But even if I didn't, then it's still better for me to start exercising today instead of next year. Or worse is if I start exercising when the doctor tells me that I have to be exercising or I'm going to end up very sick. Issac Newton called this concept inertia, and it goes something like this: an object at rest tends to stay at rest, and an object in motion tends to stay in motion. And I think innately we all know that if we really want to accomplish anything, the hardest thing to do is to get started. So here's how all of this applies to eXp and the top reasons to start now versus later. Reason number 1, eXp is the fastest growing real estate company in U.S. history. And that's saying a lot, because there have been a lot of great companies since the traditional real estate model started being used in 1906. And it's not just the fastest by a little bit, but by a long, long shot. See, the fastest any other real estate company has ever grown is 53% in 1 year, and then it dropped off the next year. And don't get me wrong, that's amazing growth. To give you an idea of eXp's growth, eXp has grown over 175% for 2 years in a row. Now, we're currently adding over 30 new agents every day, and that's about 1,000 new agents every month. And that number is most likely going to go up over the next year. Why is this important to you? Well, because while the price might stay the same, the cost is going up quickly, and that might sound confusing. And so since we're all in the real estate business, let me put it this way. If you had a buyer last year and they purchased a $200,000 house, their loan was probably around 3.75%. And if that same buyer purchased that same house at the same $200,000 sales price this year, then their loan is probably going to be around 4.25%. And if they try and do it next year, their loan's going to be about 5.5%. So while the price stayed the same, the longer they waited, the more it actually costs them to get the same thing. Reason number 2, the hockey stick growth pattern. This is the general shape of a hockey stick, and it's also the shape of a real estate company growth curve. And again, this isn't subjective. This is the growth pattern of every successful real estate company for the last 100 years. See, it starts off in a linear pattern, and then at the magic tipping point of 10,000 agents, the company starts to grow exponentially. And then this is backed by over 100 years of data, and it happened to Coldwell Banker back in the day with ERA. It happened with Century 21 in the 70s, Remax in the 80s, and Keller Williams in the 90s. If we place that on a timeline, it took them about 20 years to reach the 10,000 agent tipping point. And then within the next 5 years, the company grows to 50,000 plus agents. Now, KW is currently the largest brokerage in the world with about 160,000 agents, so we'll use them as an example. They started in 1983, and about 13 years later, around 1996, they'd reached about 1,000 agents. Now, by 1999 or 2000, somewhere in there, they reached 10,000 agents, that tipping point. And by 2005, there were 50,000 plus agents, and they kept on growing into what they are today. Now, again, all of these are great companies and all with great growth. To put it in perspective, eXp reached 1,000 agents in 7 years, and we will cross 10,000 agent, the tipping point, before this summer of 2018. So that's only in 9 years. That's more than twice as fast as any other company in history. And my prediction is that eXp will be around 20,000 agents by the end of 2018 and the largest brokerage in the world within the next 5 years. Reason number 3, eXp is growing so fast that the agents that you think are going to be on your team if you wait, well, they're already going to be growing their own teams by the time you get started. And the same is true of lead generation. You can learn the system now and be kicking butt with it next year, or you can wait. And you can learn how to operate in the cloud now, or you can learn it later. And trust me, I know from experience, and it's already happened to a lot of eXp agents, that someone we know that would be a great fit for eXp, they turn up at one of the events because they're already on someone else's team. And that story is only going to happen more and more often as we continue to grow. Reason number 4, eXp stock. Of course, I don't know what the market's going to do, and I can't predict the stock price or guarantee anything. But here's what happened at the end of 2015. The stock was around 84 cents a share, and we had less than 1,000 agents in the whole company. In December 2016, the stock was around $4.05 a share, and we finished the year with about 2,400 agents. In 2017, the stock was around $7.60 a share, and we finished with about 6,500 agents. Now, if you take a look at this chart, it prescribes how many shares we can earn, and it's based on agent count. So around October last year, we were around 4,000 to 6,000 agents, and you can see the corresponding shares that you could have earned if you were with us back then. Well, last month in January of 2018, we were at 6,000 to 8,000 agents, and you can see the stock that you could have earned then. But now, today, 1 month later, in February 2018, we're over 8,000 agents, and you can see that by the end of this year, we're literally going to be off the chart. So the good news is that so far, as the number of shares that we can earn has gone down, the value of those shares has gone up. So my 1,000 shares at 85 cents when I got it was worth less than 100 shares that I got this year at $12 a share. So again, just to be clear, I don't know where the stock's going to be at the end of 2018, but I'm excited to see what happens, especially since I think we're going to have about 20,000 agents by then. Reason number 5, the law of diminishing intent. So the law of diminishing intent goes something like this. And see, most people don't act as quickly as they should on things they really intend to do. And the law of diminishing intent says the longer that you wait to do something you should do now, the greater the odds that you will never actually do it. So every day that goes by is stacking the odds against you. And I think we all get the point by now. It was the same as Issac Newton and inertia, the same as the analogy of planting a tree, and the same as Confucius when he said the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So I think we can safely say that we all missed the boat on Apple and Microsoft and Dell, Airbnb, Netflix, Amazon, all those companies. But we all have the opportunity to grow as agent owners with eXp. So what I'm saying is, if you've already made the decision that this is the right path for you and the right business model and the right company and the right culture, then you really should consider starting now rather than later. Don't let the law of diminishing intent keep you from this opportunity. And in 5 years, when you look back at this moment in your life, I truly hope that you're happy with the decision that you made and that you've accomplished what you set out to do and that you've created a better life for yourself and your family with more choices, more financial security, and with more time to enjoy your life.